of the biggest problems we always experience in Turkana is the flooding of our mosques. And this year, we said that is not going to happen. And Jonga said 1 million, he said the contract is going to cost council 1,027,000. He wants the public to think that this is a huge lot of money. But you know what? In the budget, 6.5 million was budgeted this year for Jonga to get a septic tank. Where is the septic tank? It's nowhere to be seen. We came in June. This should have been acquired since January. It's budgeted, it's given to him. Get people of West Coast a septic tank. He decided not to have it. We came in and we found ourselves in a rainy season and there was no septic tank. But we know that there's a lot of money budgeted for it. We had 6.5 million. If we had a septic tank, what was it going to do in the rainy season? It was going to drain the market. It was going to drain the streets, exactly what he said this septic tank were supposed to do. But this was the cheapest deal because when we came in, the first day it rained. The first day I went into the fish market and saw that nasty water there, I paid almost 38,000, my own money, and I never claimed that money back from council. I paid that from my own money to drain that place. 38,000 just one day. Just one day. These septic tanks were draining those places for a whole week for 20,000 and 30,000, two of them, 50,000. For a whole week. When it rains, they will go and start with the mosque area, the Cassava Junction, and then they will go to the fish market when the market vendors have started going home. We did that, we were doing that on every day. Because when you are to take septic tanks, when you are to hire, they charge us 3,500 per trip. These vehicles were doing almost 20 to 30 trips in a day. Two of them. One will do 15, the other will do 10 there, or they will do 15 or 16, sometimes even more. Sometimes they are here until very late in the evening. But even that was not enough. We wish we had our own septic tank. Because if we had our own septic tank, we would have gotten 2 or 3 teams. First team will go in the morning. When they finish work, second team comes in the afternoon. Another team comes in the evening. Then we would be able to clear a lot of other places. When we said septic tanks can do this job, many people thought that we were just bluffing. But when it started, in fact, the market people almost on a daily basis, the moment it rains, the first thing you get is market people calling you. Where are the septic tanks? We are flooded here. We need this water drain. Everybody got used to it. So the septic tanks would just go and drain everywhere. When you get into the market, you wouldn't think that it had even rained, but it did. In previous years, people have to live with those waters in the market for months and months, for the whole of the rainy season. This year we said we are not having it. And not only that, the septic tanks helped us to clean, police, the hospital, Yundum Barracks. These are their letters. All of them writing. This one is from the police. I write on behalf of the staff of Brikama Police Station to express our appreciation to you through Honorable Mane. They meant Honorable Dow. Honorable Mane of Nyambai Ward for the assistance given by draining the Sockaway in the station. On Saturday, the 8th of July, Honorable Mane dispatched a tank to empty the Sockaway. This gesture came at a moment when we were wondering how to best solve the problem. Despite this intervention, the Sockaway is still full. It's full again, suggesting that there is a fault somewhere in our plumbing and sewage system. Yet this is just one of several challenges facing our police station at the moment. With this issue in mind, I would like to invite you to visit our station to see the condition under which police personnel are compelled to work. This presents sincere compliment to the chairman of BAC and I have the honor to request for the above mentioned subject for the Gambia Armed Forces. The list goes on. The paramilitary at Brufut, the hospital in Sibano, which I've never heard. They said the hospital was built since in the 70s, but their septic tanks have never been empty. until this year, we're supposed to go on empty. That is the importance of septic tanks to us in this council and to the people of this region. So, Jonga said, we spent 1 million on septic tanks. I said, alas. Finally, we spent 1 million on the people of West Coast this year. Because we have not spent anything on them. What else have we spent this year on the people of West Coast? Nothing. From January to now, all the money has been spent on Jonga's travel, Sirifo's travel, Jen's opulent lifestyle. Nothing else was spent on the people of West Coast. But at this time, God taken say we had benefited $1 million from our revenue, which was plowed back to us through the septic tanks. So this is something we're proud of. But we say, it is the misrepresentation for him to say that that was done through orally only. But even if it is done orally only, contracts are usually entered orally or written. And this was not done orally. This was done written. Written contract was given to Jonga himself. He still refused to sign his part. We don't know why. But he should sign it. Because, and those companies up to date have not been paid a penny. None of them have been paid a penny. But each day, I don't know whether you pass it, there is one that is standing outside there. If we need anywhere, we tell them go and clear that or drain that place. They will go and drain it. Go and drain it. In fact, council's own markets, we had to go and drain it. Okay, they are right now at the fish market, draining there. But that is service delivery. That's what councils are supposed to do. Nobody in West Coast can fault us for spending that money in draining our markets and mitigating the challenging lifestyle that our people have to endure during rainy seasons, in this rainy season. And next year, unlike what happened in the past, next year we hope to have our own septic tanks, and I think it's budgeted. We hope to have our own septic tanks, not just one, but 2 of them, because we realize that that is very important. Just like garbage trucks, we cannot go without septic tanks. And these septic tanks were all part of this Senea project. And this CEO, just as incompetent as he is, doesn't even know that that exists as part of that project. So he then went on to allowances. This is where it becomes even more interesting. The CEO said, on 13 July, under the leadership of the chairman, the General Council passed a unanimous resolution to increase its meetings allowances from 1,500 to 2,500 bi-weekly. The monthly allowance for the chairman is increased from 18,000 to 25,000. The deputy chairman from 9,500 to 20,000. You see how much that has leaped. From 9,500 to 20,000. He went on to say, councillors from 6,500 to 15,000. This is incredible. This is very, very sad. Because I have a letter here, and I will share this letter with you. This letter was written by CEO Jonga, and he sent this letter to the ministry. But this is what he said in the letter. He said, I write to convey a second general resolution dated 22nd June 2023 on the increment of monthly allowances for the chairman, deputy chairman, councillors, and the monthly general council meetings for the Honourable Minister's consideration and approval. Said in the said resolution, the General Council proposed the Council to pay 15,000, Deputy 20,000, Chairman 25,000, and then the sitting 2,500 from 1,500. He said the said resolution and proposed increment are herewith attached for your kind consideration. He went on to say, an earlier letter was sent to on the 16th of February 2022 for the Honourable Minister's approval on the same subject matter. Now you all heard what he said. He wrote that. An earlier letter was sent to your ministry on the 16th of February on the same subject matter. A copy of the previous correspondence is equally attached. That correspondence of 16 February is also here. And in that one he says, I write to convey to you the General Resolution dated 14 February 2023 for increment of councillors' allowance for the Honourable Minister's approval. The names of the councillors that signed the said resolution and the proposed increment are herewith attached for your kind attention. He then attacked the resolution. But you know what is funny about that one? It says, currently, this document that he himself sent this to the ministry, he said, monthly allowance for the chairman, for the councillors. He said, councillors, the current allowance, he's talking about February, he said the current allowance is 13,000. Proposed increment is 2,000 to make it 15,000. That's what his document says. Jonga himself wrote this and sent it to the ministry in February. But Jonga, in the interview with Standard, said, we increased it from 6,500 to 15,000. But at the time of his own letter, he said councillors were receiving 13,000 and there was only an increment of 2,000 from 13 to 15,000. And then he also said sitting allowance. Exactly, it wasn't the current campus because we came in June. But Jonga wrote this in February to tell the ministry that this is the increment. But Jonga, when he was writing this, he wanted the whole world to see, yes, he's owing the councillors 10,000. Yes, the old councillors, because he refused to pay them. So he said, yes, he said in this one, that it is the chairman who increased it from 6,500 to 15,000. What a leap. But in February, when he was writing to the minister, he told the minister, councillors' current allowance is 13,000. And the proposed increment is 2,000 for it to be 15,000. He then said, sitting allowance for the councillors was to move from, was at the time 1,500 and the increment of 1,000 to make it 2,500. He said, the vice chairman, remember what he said the vice chairman was at? He was at 9,500 and they want to increase it to 20,000. But in this letter, he said the vice deputy chairman is at 17,500 and an increment of 2,500 to make it 20,000. So you see how misleading number is to the public. But this is his own letter. And he is the custodian of council documents. How come he forgot about his own letter that he wrote on the 27th of June and attacked this to the ministry? So he also went, he said, chairman's allowance at the time he said was 21,000 per month. And he said, increment of 4,000 to 25,000. So, but in here, he said chairman's allowance jumped from 18,000 to 25,000. This is his own. So this is not something that we brought in. This was brought in by the previous council and resoluted, and it was said, but before that, the previous council budgeted this. This is already budgeted in 2023. The councillors, when Lansanya is here, Diba is here, they had to go to the ministry to defend this. The ministry approved it. It became our budget. Jonga sat on it, and you know, this is what was so annoying with Jonga. Jonga makes decisions, like I said, he's the alpha and omega of this institute. He makes decisions willy-nilly, anyhow he likes. And then it becomes final. So he sat on this, he said he will not pay the councillors that amount of money. We said to him, hold on here. That works on the Silvo's days, but this is my day. This will not work. And this council now, we're not taking it lightly. We'll pass a resolution. If you go against our resolution, we get rid of you. But you have to pay what is agreed and resoluted and it's gone. But to also make sure it becomes stronger, we said it's not going to be just chairman saying it. All the councillors, let's vote. Every councillor voted for it because it's a resolution that has to be respected. And we cannot say because it was a resolution done by the previous council, we are not going to honor it. No. If the next council comes, they can also say about the same thing about our resolution and will not adhere to it. And that is bad. council resolution, council is a continuity, just like the government. When we make decisions, there's a going to have a binding effect on the next council. So we told him to increase it. But Jonga blatantly and deliberately had no saying, no honor, no integrity. Wrote in the media, maybe he will come out and say, I did not tell that to stand that. They wrote it themselves. Because he wrote it here. He said we moved it from 6,500 to 15,000. But in his own letter to ministry, which he CC'd to my office, he's telling a different story. But that's the sort of person he is. It was so unfortunate for the people of West Coast to have a pathological liar as its CEO. And that's how it is. And now it is proven to the whole world that this is what has been happening. So he went on, the next allegation he made, and he said this was in complete contravention of Section 12 of the Local Government Act. We increase our own salaries, everything, you know. How can it be when the minister himself and the ministry approve the budget, and it is in the budget, that this is what it's supposed to be paid? But you know why we had to go after him? It's because at the same time, when we came in, we realized that he was withholding these allowances. So you see what was happening. The chairman still for Sonko when he was here, he was getting paid 18,000 while Jonga is paid 29,000. And the director of finance, who is the director, bottom one below everyone, he is paid almost 35,000. How is that even possible? When the chairman is supposed to be the head of the institution. But it tells you who are the most powerful people. Jen is more powerful. For obvious reason, Jen has the whole of his clan and everybody who is from his lineage in the council. Council become no longer become area council, but become a Kunda area council. So Jen is the most powerful, so he gets more pay. Jonga is the second most powerful, Jonga gets the second highest pay. And the chairman that was here, who doesn't even know his left, right, and center, he got paid whatever. So the next one was, he said revenue. He said the chairman through senior project, he went on to approve his own, they printed their own printing at the council when it's supposed to be done by GPPC. You see, funny enough, on this part, he didn't cite any law. He said there's a ministerial, whatever, executive directive from the ministry that all revenue should be done through GPPC. But when he came to my office, I asked him to bring that ministerial directive, just like everything else. When you want to find a government that BAC owns, ask Jonga, you will never find it. And he's the custodian of all records of BAC. We had an issue with Tambana. He said Tambana is, because Tambana, he said, it's council owns Tambana. And Bulundala said, no, it's not owned by Tambana. Tambana is owned by the Gama Bulundala. We gave it to you for you to dump there. Jonga said, no. They gave me, in fact, we had our own side. We had the mapping of it. I said, go and get me the map. That became history. We still cannot find it. Because he cannot find any document. In the last council sitting, our own substation office in Brussels, where we had entered into a contract. So this thing, he's accusing us of entering into a verbal contract. He had a contract, a tenancy agreement with the landlords of that substation. And we asked him on the 10th of this month, or last month, October, to provide us with a copy of that, of the detail, because some of the subcommittee members went there and they found that there are arrears owed to the owners of that office. He said he's not aware of it. But you're supposed to know everything. You are the CEO of the council. You're supposed to know everything. He said he's not aware. He's been asked to find out. He said the head of the substation wasn't there. He couldn't find out. He was waiting on that person to come for him and that person to go to the landlord in order to retrieve the contract that they entered with the landlord. I mean, what kind of CEO is that? You don't even have your tenancy agreement. You don't have your leasehold agreement with private enterprises or private property owners. And you are being told you are owing, you don't even know what rent you're supposed to be paying. But that is the sad situation we find. That's why we said this man is completely incompetent. So with the senior ticket, he went to GPPC, he said it was going to cost us 500,000 plus to print the tickets. And then the IT department says, these tickets are very simple, we could do them here without incurring that much cost. And this is a new venture we are entering. We don't know whether we are going to get any money or people are going to rebel against us or anything of that sort. Do you take such a risk? We told him, no, we will go with the cheaper deal. Because if it can be printed here, we will go with that. He said, no, revenue has to be printed by GPPC. He said, bring the law. If the law said it has to be printed by them, we'll go and print with them. He brought a preamble which says, if you cannot do it internally, you can go to GPPC, but don't go to any other party. That's what that letter said, that preamble said. If council cannot print anything, it has to go to GPPC, not to any other third party. I said, yes, that is loud and clear. But this one we can print internally. Why should we go there now? And he himself said, yes, now we can go ahead. But you know what he did? Instead of adhering to what we said, he went and printed at GPPC. So he printed, the order we told him not to do so, he went and printed it and he could not pay. That led to everything, all the problem we are having with GPPC. Because he printed it, knowing fully well that he had no money for it. And up to date, we are owing them money to pay them. And those tickets are still lying there, we could not collect them because we don't have the money to pay them. And the consequences of that is that we ended up owing enough money to the point that GPPC said, and this is the point he went on, the revenue collection, and the order, on his reaction on Friday, he said the GPPC one was misrepresented because he said he paid 148. He was owing GPPC $1 million or $880-something thousand dollars. That's what he was owing at the time. He took 148,000 to them. And those people said, no, we are not giving you your tickets because you're owing us 880. That you need to make a substantial payment, not 148. Instead of paying the more money that is required, he went on to give priority to maintenance or the servicing of his vehicle. And I think people have heard what he said. He said because he had given priority to other things prior to that, and the fact that he was relying on friends to drop him from work and back to work, therefore he had to give priority to the servicing of his vehicle. But we told him prior to that, don't print those tickets there, we could print them at IT, and it's cheaper. If he had done that, we would not have gotten ourselves into that problem with GPPC of owing them that huge lot of money. But he didn't listen. He went and did that. So that is his open. Now he said it's a ministerial executive order. One of the things he failed to understand is that ministerial orders are not law. They are not law, they are just executive orders. If the minister wants to make it law, he will go to Parliament and pass it as a law, and then it applies to us. But if the minister doesn't say it, and then make executive orders and then tell us to do that, we will say no. We're not answerable to you in the first place. Our law said under Section 124 of the Local Government Act, it says we are answerable to our electorate, not you. And that's what he said. We are answerable to our electorates and then the Parliament. We can, it says, the law said we come to you when we have a budget with our emolument and salaries for you to approve, or when we need other help, we come to you, but we're not answerable to you. So you cannot sit there, make directives, and then you say it has to apply to us. The same thing he did with us when he came to traveling. He said there was a government travel ban, it applies to, we said no, that applies to you and your team, it doesn't apply to us. We are councillors, we're not, it doesn't, they don't tell us what to do, we run our own budget lines. So you see, so that explains that part. So Jonga misled people on that front, that we went against ministerial orders. He has still up to date has not shown us that ministerial order, which says that we have to. And he went on to say, I think he said this was since 2018. How can ministerial order since 2018 is still applying to us? It just doesn't make any sense. But what the minister is saying and what the GPPC Act is even saying are different. That says if you can do internal, but if you cannot do internal, you have to give priority to GPPC. So that is the baseless allegation. Then he went on to revenue collection. He said General Council passed a resolution empowering compliance officers to collect, and he went on to section 120. Again, he doesn't understand section 120, because section 120, this is what section 120 said, and we will read that. Or maybe he's probably watching so that he understands what section 120 said. Section 120, subsection 1, says a council shall, in the case of an officer employed by it, whether under this or any other enactment, who by reason of his or her employment is likely